the work itself is not meaningful, but what
Yes.
it's providing for you is. And like, so I guess that's maybe the overall theme of the episode, is to not focus so much on what you're doing, because of course it's probably not going to be meaningful.
It's a tough one. Like, this is why when I was reading the show notes, I was like, oh, I'm interested in this because it's, it's almost in a way runs parallel, well, not parallel, sorry, runs like against maybe what I'm looking at in the studies that I do,
Oh,
and
okay.
the importance of meaningful work.
Okay.
Because I know there is certainly, some research out there to suggest, you know, you want to really try and funnel people into meaningful work straight away rather than trying to find meaning in any work you do. But
Okay.
I do think the reality is you're not always going to find a meaningful job straight away. You will just have
No.
to take on a job because that's the way the world works.
Yeah.
People sometimes hire their friends or people that they like, and you've never got a shot. So,
That's true.
but I guess, yeah, I guess what I was saying there is like, I do think meaning is still important. Like, I
Of
think I
course.
worked
Yeah.
I worked one job at the tax office for a
Hmm.
short period of time, and I could not find meaning in that work. Like,
Right.
it was one that I had to step away from. But I think it's because I'd spent so long like learning what I wanted to do with my life and what was important to me.
Sure.
Whereas I'm sure if maybe I'd done it in the beginning, like, before I'd kind of worked through all that stuff, maybe I could have found meaning in there. So it's quite a tricky topic, but a really
Well,
important one, I think.
but if you really think about it, that was the meaning of that work. Is it gave you the
Yeah.
space to it gave you the space that you needed, because that was between you working at the bank and pursuing your PhD, right? That was your
Yes,
between time.
that's
So
right.
it gave you the space that you needed to get onto your PhD work.
Very good
It's
point.
actually super meaningful.
Yeah, you're very wise. As soon as you
but,
started saying that, I was like, there we go. Yep.
but
That's very
see, and that's the thing. It's like the work itself is not meaningful, but what
yes.
it's providing for you is. And like, so I guess that's maybe the overall theme of the episode, is to not focus so much on what you're doing, because of course it's probably not going to be meaningful. I mean, half
Yeah.
of my accounting day is spent just typing numbers into a computer. Okay, that's not necessarily meaningful. That's not meaningful to me at all. Although I am kind of proud of myself sometimes of how fast I am. So I get that meaning, but the meaning comes with what, serving my clients.
Yeah.
That's where the meaning comes. And the way I'm able to serve my clients is because I'm really good at, the stupid skills that nobody wants to do, like
Yep.
like adding up 1,000 numbers and trying to get them to tie out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, nobody's gonna do that. It's like, oh, this just brings so much purpose to my life. But or like filling in little boxes on a tax return. I mean, that's not really
No,
nobody's
it's
going to be
yeah,
passionate about that, but
yeah, very true. Yeah.
yeah, it's more just shifting the perspective and trying to find, because everybody's going to have, and that's a perfect example too of when you were in the tax office.
Mm.
It's everybody's going to have that point in their life where they're not quite where they want to be, but they know they have to stay where they are for whatever reason. Maybe it's
Yeah.
finances, maybe with their family circumstance, it's just not a good time for them to do something different. And
Yeah.
maybe they have to move in order to do something different. Who knows? But there's going to be a reason you have to stay where you are. So if you can
Mm.
focus on finding some meaning in it, that's just going to make that time so much easier to get through.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you'd be sharpening your skills a lot more, I would think.
Mm.
Because if you're sitting there like, oh gosh, I hate this, but I have to do it, and I'm only here for the money, and blah, blah, like thinking all these thoughts to yourself, you're not going to be focused on getting better at all
Mm.
those little things that seem so insignificant at the time, but they're not insignificant.
Mm. And I think yeah, as you say, it's not the task itself. It is like the bigger picture that you can enjoy. But yeah, it's funny actually. Like, there's jobs that I can think of that I enjoyed just parts of, even though I knew it was not going to be a career for me and it wasn't something
Yeah.
that I was going to do for very long. Um, you know, and it'll sound like I had a lot of jobs because I kind of had this other job just before I moved to the tax office, which was,
Oh yeah.
I was a settlements officer, and the role was quite varied in the different tasks. But one of the primary roles was you had to go into different law firms
Okay.
and help the associates settle, or like help you represented the banks, and you had
Oh,
to
okay.
help the
Okay.
associates settle the deals.
Yeah.
And it was quite fun because you just walked all around the city, you saw all the different law firms, you found out which law firms you really liked and who the nice people were. And I enjoyed that because it was very varied, and the meaning to me was like I'm getting more familiar with the city that I live in, and the law firms and the clients and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't something that I wanted to do for the rest of my life, but like I still can look back on that and think I did learn some skills, and I enjoyed just the day-to-day stuff. Like it was fun. So yeah, it's interesting, you know, what you say there. Yeah.
Yeah. And there was something I was gonna come back to and I just lost it. But
Sorry.
no, it's not you, but it'll come back to me maybe. Shoot, now I just completely lost it. But I guess so. What we were talking about in this segment, to just kind of wrap it up, is to trust the process that you're going to go through as an apprentice, like, as Peterson calls it. Like everybody's going to have that point in their life where you're just going to be doing work that maybe you know you don't want to do forever, but just trust that it's helping you get somewhere else. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So I knew if I started talking, it would come back to me. So, well, trusting the process, and then trying to be as enthusiastic as you can about that work, because like you said, people will notice it and you're going to be given different opportunities than you're just sitting there feeling bad about yourself because you're doing something you don't want to do. Because like you said, you were filing it, but you were very good at it and you were, you know, doing an excellent, maybe above and beyond the expectations of what they expected of a filer. And like you said, people started to notice that. And so that's what's going to help you get to the next level faster, I think. If you can have enthusiasm about maybe the mundane tasks that you don't really want to do.
Yeah. That's a good word as well. Like being enthusiastic, I think it just channels so much more energy into moving you forward. So yeah. Yep.
All right.